and he'll be telling us about everything he learned from watching Groundhog Day 12 times in a row.
Hello. Sorry about that. I thought I was on fourth, and I was wrong. Okay, so what is Groundhog Day? Groundhog Day is actually a day. It's on February the 2nd every year, and in Pennsylvania, and they bring out a groundhog, and he says whether winter's going to last another 6 weeks. And we thought, as you might know, there's a film with Bill Murray in, very popular, and we'll screen it 12 times in a row at Liverpool Small Cinema, which is on Victoria Street over there. So basically, that was the idea, and we started it. And I know I turned around and I said that I personally had seen it 12 times in a row, but I wasn't. I didn't actually do it myself. I didn't make it. So much like Brexit, you're going to have to live with that disappointment for the rest of your life. But let's give you some ideas. So I was the projectionist, and I sat down, and effectively, Groundhog Day is 1 hour and 41 minutes. So that gives us 19 minutes to kind of turn the film around. So you get everyone in, sit them down, and then show it. So how was the best ways to do it? One of the best ways to do it is not to watch the transfer deadline window day the night before up till midnight and drink beer. Because when you had to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning the next day, you felt terrible. Just to warn you in the past. That's me there, desperately wishing I wasn't, with a stinking hangover. But there was a guy who was there. And the thing was that we also made a terrible mistake as well at the start, because we opened at 6 a.m., which meant that no one could arrive using public transport, apart from one guy, a guy called Richard Inkin, who is our hero of the day, shall we say. Oh, and the TV were there as well. They popped up at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we were in Entertainment Weekly, the BBC. Look, somebody's trying to watch a film there, and North West Tonight are filming them. Fuck, I don't know. I mean, that's a terrible idea, isn't it? But, so, yeah, and there's a huge amount of things, but I got cut from the actual edit because I was really rude to them, so I just wanted to kind of say that. Anyway, the reason why I didn't watch it all was because something I described as the crisis. The crisis happened at 10 o'clock in the evening, so I was basically 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock were the sellout screenings. 10 o'clock was when I realised that I still had an entire working day to go and my head fell off. I feel also, thank you so much as well, because all these pictures, which are wonderful, were taken by Jay McNeil, who kind of also sat through the entire thing. So what did I learn? Well, I learned a few things. One of them is the fact that the music to the Groundhog Day is fucking awful. And so Harold Ramis, who's the director, who, if you don't know him personally, wrote, was Egon in Ghostbusters. He wrote loads of the soundtrack, and it's garbage. And these two people are the worst human beings in the world. Imagine, if you will, going up to somebody in a bar and buying them a drink and proposing a toast, and for them to turn around and say, actually, I only propose toast for world peace, and that to be the cock block that means you never have sex that night. It's not acceptable to me personally. But anyway, sorry, Liverpool Small Cinema is a community-run cinema. It's run by volunteers. These are two people who were very kind enough to accept the kind of madness I was spewing already probably about 6 hours in truth. And they're amazing volunteers. That's your man. That's Richard. Richard is great. This is after midnight. These three people in the middle here from Drop the Dumbbells, which is a pub over in Everton, which is a fantastic venue. But they didn't... Basically, they rocked up at midnight kind of expecting it to be a party atmosphere, and it was like desolation because everyone had been there already for 18 hours. And so everyone was gabbering to each other like kids who had never been out in the outside world, like twins that had been locked away. That's Sam Meach, whose idea it was, who, as you can see, really did amazing work later on in the evening. And he's over there, little shit. I feel like, yeah, so the hats, the idea of these hats were designed so we could kind of, there I am, having a midlife existential crisis. So we'd look like the people who were, the groundhog wranglers, as if that's a proper job. It's not a proper job, apparently. But you kind of felt like you'd be part of it, and you kind of looked a bit, but we just looked like mentalists. This is at 5 o'clock in the morning. You can't notice this, but I'm quite drunk at this stage, which is why I'm toasting a room with 6 people. And I've got eyes like piss holes in the snow. So what did I learn? Well, I learned that after 24 hours and a stinking hangover at the start of the day, that's the 26. That when basically what happened was I walked out, they had the radio on, like the radio guy ran up to me randomly from Radio Merseyside, stuck the microphone onto my mouth and started interviewing me. And to be honest with you, I didn't know what was going on. He's just like, I just thought I'd catch you while you were finishing for some content. And then my mother listened to it, and she phoned me up and went, I didn't think that was you. And that proves to you that if you watch Groundhog Day for 12 times in a row, it changes you. So don't.